With the sitcom paradigm, there are challenges with introducing character growth too quickly. Unlike dramas, which almost always rely on character development and ever-evolving narratives, the efficacy of a sitcom relies on its own reusability. Creating characters that are easy to get and putting them in different situations for comedic effect is literally what a sitcom is, a situation comedy. Of course, these characters can exist and develop beyond their tropes, but they also need to be identified by their tropes. And for the audience to easily be able to jump into any given episode and immediately understand the characters requires for them to be consistent. This doesn't mean sitcoms can't lean into serialization. Things can and do occur and change. Jobs, relationships, dynamics are all up for grabs. But in a sitcom, by design, the integral components of the characters shouldn't be allowed to grow. Which is why it's so interesting when they do. For the shows that walk this line, this setup also dictates that these changes have to happen gradually. This is especially the case with a series like Modern Family, which, because of its flexible premise, was easily able to stretch out for years. Though there is criticism around Jay's growth being too slow. Sometimes it feels like one step forward, 2 steps back. Or 2 steps forward, half a step back. We're going to weigh out the strengths and limitations of Modern Family's use of growth and stereotypes. We're going to recognize the show's masterful use of exposition, how they create loopholes to happy endings, and their subsequent effects on the audience. And we're going to analyze Jay Pritchett and the secret significance of his character. In the original pilot, Jay's character description reads, 60s, successful businessman, divorced, recently married Gloria, struggles to stay young for her. He's wealthy off a successful business he built from the ground up, is married to a beautiful woman, drives a luxury car, owns a big house with a pool, and has a designer dog. Jay epitomizes the American dream to the demographic of viewers that are still most likely to believe in it. Statistically speaking, white, college-educated, higher-income-earning, Republican-leaning boomers, according to Pew Research. Besides being college-educated, which I can't find any concrete information on to confirm or deny, at the start of the series, Jay also checks these boxes. Not only does it suggest he would relate to the audience that agrees with his values, but more significantly, it means that audience relates to him. If all of the characters in Modern Family are satirized stereotypes, if Haley is the popular dumb girl, Phil is the cartoonish goofy dad, and Claire is the uptight suburban mom, then Jay is the quintessential boomer. Many of these qualities are endearing. He's the dad who insists he doesn't want a dog, but ends up loving and spoiling it more than anyone else.
My baby! Stella, I'm coming! I'm coming!
He can appear grumpy and tough on the outside, but he can also secretly be very thoughtful of the people he loves.
There wasn't a big selection at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
He's well versed in the inner machinations of running a business, but he doesn't know how to fix a printer or double tap on his phone.
Double click! Double click!
Been trying to get this old picture of her printed, but I can't get this new printer to...
I'll be right there.
Still, there is a specificity in the broadness of Jay's portrayal. One of the best ways to view this is if we think about the most mainstream and generic gifts for dads. On literally any website that sells them, Jay is a perfect match. Some of these gifts include a set of grilling tools, a back massager, a bourbon smoker. If we take a second to break these gifts down, we can quickly categorize them as an oscillation of sports, grilling, mixology, small other goods, masculine comfort, and like tools to fix things. Bonus points when you combine any 2 of them. These gifts are practical, grounded, and masculine. They are meant for and symbols of the quintessential boomer father. Jay is the prime recipient of every store's Father's Day gift section, which is to say, Jay is emblematic of what our society has defined a father to be. Jay isn't just a character in his born stereotype, he is an archetype. This matters because his characteristics go beyond any one person. They reflect a broader societal image. The ubiquity of Jay's character ensures that even if viewers don't have a father like him, they are bound to have someone in their lives who they see Jay in. Or they might resonate with Jay themselves, in age, outlook, or his more traditional views. This is a sharp contrast to his Gen X counterpart Phil, who represents a much more modern and unconventional approach to fatherhood. Where Jay embodies the traditional father figure, Phil is more whimsical, emotional, and fluid in his parental ideology.
Do you have anything to say to your daughter about her skirt?
Sorry. Oh yeah, that looks really cute, sweetheart.
He's goofy and playful, a direct opposition to the authoritative figure we would typically associate with the quintessential boomer father.
Now I can see everything that goes on around here.
Ironically, this nature also reflects in the gifts Phil would want to receive.
Things I want. Robot dog, night vision goggles, bug vacuum, GPS watch, speakers that look like rocks.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I turned my phone off. Huh, I know the area code. It could easily be an appointment I forgot about, or that cute guy from the bar the other night. I'm sorry, this will just take a second. Let me just... Hello?
Hi, is this Sloan Stowe?
Sorry, who's this?
Hi, I'm trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Oh, that's okay.
You know you owe that.
No, thanks though.
Wait,
Have a good one. Sorry, I swear I get like 5 of these a day. Fortunately, this video's sponsor, Incogni, is putting an end to that. Today, thousands of companies are collecting, buying, and selling your personal data without you knowing. Information like your full name, email address, actual address, phone number, even your hobbies and interests. Legally, we have the right to request these brokers to delete the information they have about us. But to actually do that would be like going door to door in Vivarium, exhausting and endless. This is where Incogni comes in. With your permission, they go out and remove you from all of these lists and deal with the aftermath if they run into any issues. It's only been a few days since I started my account, and they've already sent out and checked off nearly 200 requests, with more on the way. I don't know anything about these companies, but apparently they know a lot about me, or they used to, thanks to Incogni. Go to incogni.com/SloanStowe and use code SloanStowe to get an exclusive offer of 60% off. That's incogni.com/SloanStowe and use code SloanStowe or click the link below to take your personal data off the market. Here's the thing, if you asked Jay Pritchett in the pilot if he's homophobic, he would say no, and he would think he's being totally honest. Then he might offhandedly add, I don't have a problem with gay people, they can do what they want, but why do they have to constantly shove it down our throats?
Now see, why do you get to be you, but I don't get to be me? See, I didn't choose to be uncomfortable. I was born this way.
Jay's type of homophobia is one that I'd argue is more common than the blatant kind we're quick to imagine when we hear the term. Though people who just flat out hate gay people definitely exist, in the day-to-day, Jay's specific brand is much more prevalent.
What do you mean, bad idea?
Well, kids need a mother. I mean, if you two guys are bored, get a dog.
It's one that's full of microaggressions, in this case padded by the show's provocative humor that leans on exaggerated stereotypes.
Coming in.
Don't worry, Dad. Nothing gay going on here.
Over the course of the series, most of the conflicts that we see repeat for Jay can be sorted into 3 clear-cut categories. Homophobia, an inability to healthily deal with his emotions, and an imbalanced relationship with Phil. They're generally approached the same way. The majority of the time when an episode explores these subjects, the end result is a resolution with growth made. It feels like Jay overcame something and actually learned from the conflict. But then, a nearly identical situation will happen again, and it will almost negate the progress originally made, as if the writers hit a reset button. Like, in Season 1's episode 15%, Jay introduces Cam to his friends as his son's friend because he is uncomfortable with his friends knowing that his son is gay.
He referred to me as a friend of my son.
Seriously? Now that I have a family, it's getting a little old.
These guys don't understand the gay thing. Why create an awkward situation?
Jay's growth in the episode comes when he tells his friend it's okay if he's gay.
Out to him, to let him know it's okay to be gay.
You did?
Yeah.
Now, if we skip ahead 4 whole seasons to Season 5, a very similar conflict plays out, with Jay unwilling to tell some men at the club that his son is getting married to a man because he's uncomfortable with his peers knowing that his son is gay. It starts to feel a little repetitive. Despite there being so many seasons between these 2 instances, literally 129 episodes, they're virtually reanimating the same exact argument. Maybe some people feel like the writers are milking these emotional moments and wiping the characters' memories so they can play them out again and again to an eager audience without ever actually letting the characters grow. Like some sinister Groundhog Day, Simple Rick, Westworld, Peter Pan, Black Mirror episode. And there's some validity to that, for sure. Sometimes Jay's growth does seem redundant, but that doesn't mean there's a flaw in the writing. If we view these moments collectively from a different angle, especially pertaining to his conflicts with Mitchell, the hot and cold memory lapses the writers give Jay also reflect a very realistic portrait of growth, one that isn't usually depicted in television and film. Homophobia can be deeply ingrained and deeply internalized. Growth doesn't often come in the form of one epiphany and you're crowned an ally. It's continuous effort that you have to put in and patterns you have to identify and work at to change. It's unpacking and understanding and unlearning. Similarly, the same can be said about years of repressed emotions. And let's be real, these episodes are 22 minutes long. In that very short time frame, they center on 3 different households of families, and most of the time, they have to end on a happy, feel-good note. So, if the writers want Jay's central conflict of the episode to be about him being emotionally closed off, or embarrassed of Mitchell's sexuality, or about Phil vying for his attention, unless it's a very rare instance of a conflict that spans several episodes like Mitch and Cam's wedding, it has to be resolved within the episode in which it's confined. There has to be a resolution. And yet, for Jay's character to remain consistent and for audiences to leave an episode feeling good, two things must be true. Jay has to grow, and Jay cannot grow. It's all the more reason why, when he genuinely does go through significant character development, those moments have to be chosen judiciously.
We're about to start.
Actually, I thought you and I would take a little walk.
But there is a loophole to this contradiction that the writers use frequently throughout the series. Where the lines between conflict and resolution are allowed to be blurred is when the characters reference the past. It's heavily implied that when we meet Jay in the pilots, although he still has a lot of work to do, he's already improved greatly on his stance towards his son's sexuality.
I know that I said I thought this was a bad idea, but what do I know? Anyway, I'm happy for you.
This Jay is the Jay we know, but there is a version of him that exists, only in stories and references and the memories of the people who knew that version of him, that add a layer of complexity to the character he is now.
In law school, my dad used to call me every Saturday at 6 p.m. Before people would go out, just, check in, catch up.
We're guys, we don't open up. We talk about sports and cars.
And then I finally got up the courage to tell him.
I'm sure you made it very easy for Mitch to come out of the closet.
Yeah.
After that, I pretty much just talked to my mom.
Where this blatant exposition may be frowned upon in a different series, for Modern Family, it's vital to expanding our context and framing Jay's character development. As an audience, we never meet the version of Jay that stopped calling Mitchell when he came out of the closet. But comparing his actions and the actions from the Jay we do know, we can see how far he's come. And in the present, when we get frustrated with his repeated lack of growth, we're a little less angry when we think about where he started. In the grand scheme of the episode, these allusions are only little tidbits of information to enhance the specific conflict of the episode before it gets resolved, and are never fully expanded upon. Examining them individually, they are fragments of stories of episodes that we will never see.
Mitch, when was the last time he kissed you?
I don't remember.
It wasn't that long ago.
I was 12.
The writers don't have to tie up these stories with resolutions because we are not privy to the episodes where they played out. Jay can be written as toxic and regressive in the past because the only happy ending that matters is the one the audience witnesses.
It's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
In this regard, these references are kind of like that John Mulaney bit, where he essentially says, you can say anything you want, so long as you're quoting somebody else.
Okay. And I found that you can swear if you quote someone. If you say, a guy said to me, and then say the filthiest thing you've ever thought of, and people will go, oh, someone said that to you? They'll never assign it to you, the speaker.
Much of Jay's character development is cultivated by Gloria. When we look at some of these pivotal moments, it's easy to see that she is the driving catalyst behind Jay's growth.
In choosing such a challenging partner and working to give them what they need, we chart a course for our own growth.
Gloria is the person who continuously points out when he is in the wrong.
That's the nuttiest.
Jay.
Calm down. Give me the chicken.
Admonishes him when he is cold or apathetic.
I need you to be fine with Manny dancing around the living room when he's happy and Joe crying when he's sad.
And encourages him to healthily express himself and support the people around him.
Very hard on Shorty to keep a secret like that. Jay, I think you should talk to him.
What?
Yeah.
She identifies damaging cycles and recognizes the negative effects of unaddressed patterns that the other characters have spent years unable to see.
Jay's dad doesn't kiss Jay, so Jay doesn't kiss Mitch, and Mitch is a type.
Manny's character, especially in the earlier seasons, also plays a significant role here. It's not like Manny is the son Jay always imagined himself having. Outside of his chivalrous values, Manny doesn't exactly embody traditional masculinity either. His character description in the pilot emphasizes this, describing him as an old soul. Sensitive, passionate, a young romantic. By the time Manny comes into the picture, Jay's life is very different. He's no longer in an unhappy marriage. He has Gloria, he's raised 2 kids already, and he doesn't spend nearly as many hours at the office as he did when Mitchell and Claire were growing up. Maybe because of these things, Jay is more laid back and amenable to change, which is only compounded by Joe's arrival later in the series. In my video on the CBS show Ghost Whisperer, I introduced the idea of what I call gateway characters. There are two versions, and Modern Family portrays them both. The first type of gateway character is someone who is of a different demographic to a substantial portion of the audience and is viewed by that audience as funny and/or endearing. By consistently engaging with this character on screen, audiences who may have had prejudices or lacked exposure to people like them in real life gradually change their perceptions, normalizing and destigmatizing their previous views. Cameron Tucker is the perfect embodiment of this type of gateway character. In many ways, Cameron is heavily rooted in stereotypes of gay men. His character is written as flamboyant, dramatic, emotional, and effeminate.
My mother says labor with me took 36 hours because I came out of the womb like this. Hello!
They do give Cameron some unique traits and circumstances to keep him from resembling a full-blown caricature. Cam comes from a deep Southern background, has an affinity for clown culture, and loves the conventionally hyper-masculine sport that is American football. But even with these counteracting characteristics, the show has faced critical backlash for its portrayal of gay stereotypes. Which, that's fair.
I don't have a flouncy friend named LaDavid, Dad.
Do you mean LaMichael or Jamarcus? I'm not sure who you're referring to.
In 2009, the gay characters of Modern Family were never predominantly written to prioritize gay viewers. The larger audience is not meant to relate to Cameron. Through his satirized stereotypes, they are meant to see him as funny, endearing, and loving. Within this highly curated space, he is non-threatening and palatable to a heteronormative audience. This dynamic mirrors how some straight women view their gay best friend, not as a fully realized person, but as an entertaining, lovable pet or accessory. Ironically, this trope was popularized by TV writing a decade before Modern Family. In both cases, even in their good-natured tones, it's hard to deny that this representation can be reductive by perpetuating a minority's stereotypes for the majority's laughter and comfort. But it's also hard to deny the positive impact these portrayals had. Just by including Cameron on screen, by exposing a warm and likable character despite the magnified stereotypes, in this digestible form he normalized and destigmatized gay characters being on television. And by doing that, by existing despite these issues, his character paved the way for gay characters and helped raise the bar of how they would be written in the future. The second type is a character who possesses characteristics that are relatable or socially acceptable to the audience that they physically represent. This character never overtly challenges the status quo, making them approachable and non-threatening to their own demographic of viewers. But through the show or film, the gateway character subtly introduces the audience to new ideas and perspectives, subtly encouraging growth and change. This can be a slow change in the character, or it can be little actions that normalize healthy habits and even contribute to a change in society. By earning the audience's loyalty through likeness, the audience is then more receptive and accepting when the gateway character exposes them to different views or perspectives that they might not naturally seek out or consider. Audiences need a character to relate to that makes them feel safe and heard and right. Jay's views can be myopic and regressive, but they are real-world views that real-life people have. And some of those people watch Modern Family. And they look at Jay, a man they relate to, and they think, oh yeah, this guy gets it. They see him like the things that they like, and they see him say the things that they say, and gradually, as the series continues, they watch him slowly start to evolve. They see him be embarrassed of having a gay son, and then they watch him become less embarrassed. They see his reluctance to attend a gay wedding, and then they watch him walk his son down the aisle. It's kind of like watering down a strong drink, or wrapping a heartworm pill in a cold cut before you feed it to your dog. Yes, representation matters, but what makes it even better is when more people are watching. For the ones who would turn off the television after one look at Mitchell and Cameron, Jay helps pull them in,